What a great guy that is. Ton of energy, great story. California kid learning a little bit of that Hawaiian flair. Pono, how good does it
Man,
feel to hear
it,
your boy up there giving you the props?
dude, internally, I'm just dying. This guy is so funny. He has a personality on him for sure. I love it. Yeah, and it was an amazing experience, and to hear, that was the biggest thing, is like to hear the stories of everybody, and
Mhm.
the trials and tribulations that everybody goes through, and how they're trying to make better in their life, and try to be the best versions of themselves. And
Yeah.
look at Raiden. Like, I this whole entire time I was waiting in the background, but I was really trying to pay attention to his fight, because I mean, he just brings that personality, that flair, like, and that's what you want to see on the sport, as it grows and progresses. That's
Mhm.
something that you can always look forward to watching on there. So yeah, it's an amazing experience.
Yeah. I mean, I got to ask you though, right off the top, how did you break your pinky finger? Because we didn't get to see how it actually happened. But
Right.
when it did, were you worried?
Honest right now, right? Because we also had like some previous stuff with Angel happen, and he asked me the question, "Hey, are you ready? You just seem like you're not ready." And when I answered him, obviously it's the confidence in me trying to build up, but at that moment, to be really honest, I wasn't ready. I had a broken finger. I'm already coming into the fight 50% less than what it is, not at a full 100%. There was a bug going around, so Brandon mentioned it earlier. So there was everybody was getting sick at a point in time. So maybe 3 days before the fight actually really is about to happen, I mean, I get the sickness that I've never felt before. 105 fever. I'm laying in the tub trying to just cool myself down, and I start to panic. I'm thinking in my head like, man, it's not so much of the person I'm facing. We should never fear people in that sense, but it's more of like, man, am I gonna compete at 100%? No way. And it's like, this is not gonna happen. So doubts start to trickle in my mind, and uh, originally it was because during the combine we were doing like the next stress test, and we had the opportunity to hit the power cube to kind of get your slap score up there. And when we're doing the next stress test, everybody's kind of surrounded, and they're just kind of like, looking at you, and they're yelling, and it's just the hype, right? And it's like, come on, come on, come on. And then I hear somebody say, hey man, your next stress is solid, like your score is high. And I get up, and I immediately go for like a punching motion towards my other hand. I catch the inside of my pinky on my right hand, and by the time I look back at it, it's already like split. It's going this way. And I'm like, oh no, I just messed up my whole opportunity being on this, being having the opportunity to be on Power Slap. I just messed everything up. And it's like my finger is gone. It's like, this is my dominant hand, my hitting hand. It's like, what do I do now? So just after that, they had everybody line up for the power cube. And I'm like, well, I'm going to try to sneak into the left hand line and try to dominate with the left hand. And then somebody, I don't know who it was, but somebody said, hey, it's like, aren't you right handed? It's like, you're in the wrong line. You got to jump over and you got to get in the right hand. And I'm like, no way. It's like, there's no way. It's like, my finger is gone already at this moment. So I jump in the right hand line, and I'm waiting. And then they finally call me up, and I see everybody like looking at me, and they're expecting me to just, clean shot this power cube, and really put it down. And I hit it with very little power, because immediately as soon as I touched the cube, my pinky, I could hear it snap. And that was it. I was done for. I look at everybody's staring at me, and I'm kind of like embarrassed because I got a low score. And I'm like, man, they're not going to be happy with this. So I just walk it off. And as I'm walking away, I look at my finger, and this thing is just dangling. So I kind of brace it up, and I hold it in place. And I see James Stonier, and he's right there. And he kind of talking to me, and he goes, hey, what's up, brother? And I'm like, brother, look around for me real quick. He's like, is there any cameras on me? He's like, uh, no, 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 there's nothing. And I literally, I grab my pinky, I pull that sucker out, and I push it right back in. Cause I mean, like, natural to like, okay, I got to heal myself as quick as possible. So I
Yeah.
do that, and I try to set it in place. Then we go through, lining up with everybody, and actually like talking about like what's gonna, like, okay, this is what's gonna happen next, right? You're gonna be battling this person, whatever. And I'm like, man, my finger is throbbing. And it's like that the whole entire time. And I really just didn't want to say anything about my finger because I didn't want to lose that opportunity to be able to, face off with somebody, to be able to do something I've never done before and have that experience. And, it was all heart at that moment. It was just like, hey, you know what? I got to snap out of this. I got to put my heart into it and really just get focused. But yeah, walking into that, I was already at less than 50%. And I was like, this is going to be the end of it right here. It's like, if I don't come with any power on my left hand strike, it's like, I'm going to look like the dumbest person alive. Right. But yeah, looking at the fight, everything turned around and power was still there and we were able to succeed.
Yeah, I mean, going through all that adversity, obviously, you know, in front of the cameras, the lights, all that stuff. Talk to me about being in the house, the camaraderie. You look, you're somebody that I know I see you on social all the time. It looks like you built some really solid bonds. Do you feel like, you gained some friends in life as well as in Power Slap? And talk to me about what that is like and really how it's changed your life.
For sure. Coming into the house, you know, overall, when you think about like, okay, what are you here for? And everybody's gonna say, hey, you know what? I'm here for the title. I'm here for the champ. I'm here to, you know, gain this light. And I had to question myself in the very beginning of like, why am I really here? Is I want to make a statement and not so much. I mean, it's gonna make a statement if I win a shot to fight somebody with a title, but I mean, I want to make a real statement. So when I got in there, and I immediately started talking to everybody and really try to, you know, listen. That was the biggest one, is just listen to everybody's story and see what ad- adversity they're going through and the things that they've been doing their whole entire time and why they're there. And it gave me the opportunity to really learn a lot about everybody. I mean, some of the bigger names like Wes, you know learning about his business and being a bodyguard and all the people he knows and all the things that he's been going through and obviously talking about his family and his mom and like breaking things down. Raiden, another perfect example, is like the guy was going through so much, and in the very beginning we're at the hotel and he comes up to me and a lot of people were kind of like skeptical of like walking up to me and talking to me, and they thought I was there for a different reason, right? To take to take everybody out. But to be really honest, I'm like Stonier said, it's like I'm a sweetheart at heart. Is I'm a big teddy bear. So, even coming off like that and talking to everybody and then, getting to know their story, getting to know who they were, that was the biggest thing for me, talking to everybody and being able to listen to what they had to say. And I feel like that's where I gained a lot, like just being able to, be a safe space for everybody to talk and for everybody to say what they have on their chest. And even in the house, I've always learned like that. I mean, my mom has brought me up well and taught me well, so it's like having the OCD part of it too, where it's like cleaning everything and cooking for people and trying to make sure that the house was all nice and tidy and being able to be a light for people too, just guiding just a little bit of things. We can do so much as human beings. um, and then if you have somebody that kind of like nudges you in the right direction, tries to give you the right words, tries to teach you a little bit about a little bit, you can go a lot further in life. So I was able to sit there with everybody. If I go by names, I mean, I'm gonna name the whole entire house. But it's yeah, that was the best experience ever, was just being in there, being able to not only learn about everybody else, but also learn about myself, who I was as a person. I come from humble beginnings, and I really wanted to set a different pace for the power slap community, for the power slap future, and just be like almost like the father like person in the house. Try not to be too pushy, but
Mhm.
also try to keep it stern so that way everybody stays on track, stays focused. You don't want to miss out on an opportunity of a lifetime. And as much as this is like something of where you can gain a lot of like respect from other people outside, right? It's like now we get to face the world. It's not people that just are within our circle. It's not just our family. Now everybody else gets to see who we are as genuine people. The best versions of ourselves. So, yeah, that the biggest things was is to like building the relationships with a lot of the people, even a Kazakh assassin, right? That guy, Alex, language barrier. That was the first
Mhm.
person I worked with in the hotel, right? He just dead stare. I was in the gym and he just kept on looking at me the whole entire time, and I was like, man, this guy, does he know that he's in a lighter weight class? He just keeps on staring at me with some problems. It looks like he has
Yeah.
problems, but it was the language barrier. And then as soon as I knew that, I was like, okay, you know what? Let me take out Google Translate real quick. I told him I had like a Taekwondo pad, like the regular hitting pad that we usually use. I have
Mhm.
one upstairs. Like, do you want to hit? And immediately, you know when he says yes or no, so he's like, yeah, I want to do it. So perfect. Then it became more of like it's a relationship building time now. Now it's this guy trying to really learn the craft and try to take in as much as he can. It's like we're all, uh beginners in the sport. There's a lot of people that came into the house that had a little bit of background already in power slap, but
Mhm.
a lot of the people on there were like very new to this.
Yeah.
They've done MMA before, they've done all things, but I mean, you taking a random Joe off the street and trying to put him into a power slap competition with no understanding of like the basic rules, but you don't know like what you got to do to brace, how you got to do when like the motions that you got to go through when you swing. There's a lot of key factors to getting this sport down to a science.
Mhm.
And I, as much as he was my opponent, I give it to Jinx. Jinx has a natural understanding of biomechanics. He is a personal trainer. He just has the fundamentals. Luke Simons, bodybuilder. You're gonna see a lot more of that being a solid um, fighter in this sport, just because he has the mass. He knows how to build the muscle. He knows how to transfer it into actual like creating some kind of torque or with technique. So you're gonna see some amazing things from these people.
Yeah. I want to, reference something you said on the show. You said that you want to see a Hawaiian at the top of every weight division in power slap. Talk to me about what slap fighting, slap, in general, means to the Hawaiian culture, and is there a history and lineage there, that kind of brought out that comment or that statement?
There's no real history in lineage. I mean, from from warrior times. I mean, it's just the natural instinct to battle, right? To protect. But there's nothing where it's like slap was a very dominant thing. I think that was more like slap was more invented in India and in other parts of the world before it traveled over there. I mean, we never know back in the day what they were doing for slapping each other. But um, yeah, I feel like it's the spirit, it's the culture, it's the way that we're brought up and we're raised, and that's a normal thing in Hawaii. Is like you're gonna fight somebody one day, for sure it's gonna happen, and then you're gonna have to shake his hand, probably drink with him on the weekend, and then go right back to fighting him the next week after. And that's really like the culture. Of not only just Hawaiians, but Samoan, Tongan, a lot of the Polynesian descent is that like we're raised like that. Our families, you see it a lot in the family buildup. It's just there. So like with this, bringing the what I said earlier about actually like bringing like Hawaiian to like the top of the every single weight class is, well, we're already looking at one now. You got the crazy Hawaiian at the top of the super heavyweights, right? And then I'm trying to make my way in the heavyweight division. Hopefully, I can make it up there one day to be amongst the greats, like Damien DeBell and Dwayne Crespo and all these other guys that have really pioneered the sport. Uh, but I want to see the uniting, like just like how King Kamehameha united all the islands. I want to unite all the Hawaiian warriors at the very top. If you got Islander descent, we want to see you at the top at champion level. So, um, you guys got some other highlights that's going to be coming out soon that that you guys are going to be happy with, but not to dive into that. I want to keep it a surprise for everybody. But yeah, Hawaii's gonna be it's gonna be a dominating sport for us. We're gonna come in and we're gonna try to do the best that we can to what we can do. It's just
Mhm.
I wanted to see more of that uniting, not just only with Hawaiians too. I want it with everybody. Like
Mhm.
I feel like the power slap fighters and the power slap community can be strengthened a lot more. I've been seeing like the past episode 26 you had with TJ, and like perfect example. Exactly what he's doing, finding and being able to, have a place for the recruitment side of it, being able to
Mhm.
train people, being able to show them exactly like what power slap is all about, and getting people ready. That's what it's all about, is getting people like, mentally, physically ready for the sport. This is not a sport where you can just come in and, oh yeah, this, we're just gonna rule it because of the natural instinct in us. Is like there's got to be some kind of training just in life. There's got to be some kind of regimen. So I like what TJ's doing with the sport, and I like what a lot of other power slap veterans are doing with the sport, and kind of just, you know being able to try to grow it. And that's the key, is that we want to see this sport grow to the best of what it is. It's naturally going to grow itself, just from people, joining in, and trying their best. It's going to grow, but that would develop it a lot faster. Is that just having like a full-on recruitment, like just a training camp for power slappers, instead of letting people come into like the season and not having that much of an experience.
Yeah, I hear you, my man. Let's get into your fight. It's getting dark. I'm starting to lose you a little bit. So let's
Okay,
break into it, my man. All right. I
I
want you
got
to
you.
narrate for me. All right. So you still have the higher of the slap score. Can you hear me, my man?
Yes, yeah, I got you. I'm zoning in.
Okay.
Every
Awesome, dude.
time every time I watch this, is just like, because we got to see a little bit of like the clips of what we did, but then but not the whole entire thing. So it's an amazing thing to see right here. So I'm already just kind of, you can see I'm in a flex, just even staring at the referee, right? The stomp.
Yeah.
I'm already just preparing myself, and this right here is just me talking to him. We had some moments in the house that seemed kind of iffy, like almost like a test of, hey, you know what, I want to put it on you a little bit more, and try to make you wary a little bit more, and obviously that didn't work. It just ignited more of a fire in me, just being like, hey, you know what, the only person you have to beat is yourself. You've got a broken pinky. You're sick, right? And it's like, we just got to get past all this. And Dana really actually had that comment to say to me. He told me like, this is gonna be your chance. And it's like, are you gonna hit with your left hand? Yeah, of course I am. I'm not gonna say no. It's like, I'm definitely gonna go out there and compete. And he's like, well, that could be your last chance. You got to make sure that you make it count. And that resonated with me all the way into this. So he's lining up. I see his wind up right here, and
Mhm.
he doesn't go as far back as what he should have. He's kind of locked up in that position. He's locking up all his muscles to try to get that launch from the very beginning, but it doesn't work out in that way, because he I can see his hand. If I can still see your hand, I can kind of anticipate what speed that's going to come at, right? So
Mhm.
if it's going to have more power, which that one had more power than speed, he should have increased the speed, and that would have been lights out. So this one right here, okay, let's talk about this, right? So first slap is sent. I don't have proper space in between me and Jenkins. So when I'm looking at him, I
Mhm.
I feel like I'm further than what I am. I'm like, oh, okay, this is good enough for me right here, but I'm still too close. So that's what caused the club, is that I'm standing too close to him. It's my first time. Nerves are kicking a little bit. I'm kind of angry at this point. It should be more of like me jumping over the podium and just really just lighting him up with hands, instead of like a slap and I have to wait for it, right? But I'm just trying to just hone in and not do what I naturally would do. And that second slap, right as soon as I'm lining up, right, I notice, and not only that, but in the crowd, right, I hear the voice of God, right, where he says, "Hey, step back." And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, wait a minute, let me look down really quick. Okay, yeah, I'm way too close. And then I adjust. So they don't show it where I adjust my slap. They kind of just speed it up a little bit just to get to the part where I actually make contact.
Mhm.
But before that, I had like full on step back. I was able to, get a better distance with my hand. And then like just what Radian was saying earlier about like that Hawaiian style slap is I've tried to implement a little lean into it where uh, I do that. My brother does that. You're gonna see it later on down the line that some of the other fighters in the house they practice the same style and technique, where it has a little bit of a lean where you're crossing the plane on the opposite side, bringing the
Mhm.
body back over, and then transferring the weight all the way across. And I think it's a good technique. If it works for you guys, it works for you guys. If it, obviously it works for me, and that's the way I've been training. So and I've seen the other success with it, right? Just by watching the previous fights, people trying to like get that little lean in when they have their hand up.
Mhm.
It shows that that style is pretty strong. So yeah, on that one, I already see it. I line up, I get the distance. Now I can feel it, and immediately, as soon as I know that I got a good amount of distance from him, I look at him straight in his eyes, and I'm like, "Bye bye. Like it's done. This is your end." And I crank back and send it. The best way to explain it is just like how Luke said. It's like magic. It just poof, disappears. So by the time my hand touches his face, I don't see anything. I don't feel anything. It just goes right through him. And then by the
Mhm.
time I turn to look back, and I'm staring down the pipe, and I'm like, where'd this guy? Wait, he's on the ground. Oh, this is it right here. And then that it just the fireworks start going inside. I do a whole entire like sacrificing show where I put him on the podium. I chop his head off with a weapon of choice. You have the strangle rope, you have the pahoa, which is the smaller knife, and I break that thing out, chop his head off. I take his head, I show it to everybody, so you see a little clip of that at the very end where I'm kind of putting my hand up in the air like this. It's
Yeah.
because I'm showing everybody his head. I put it in the bag, I tie it up, and it's on to the next. So
I hear you, my man. I mean, going up there with your left, definitely something you probably didn't get to, practice too much for. Now you see that you have the power in the left. Do you still prefer the right? Or is there something in your mind that maybe there's some extra magic in that left hand?
I feel like the left is always going to be still solid. I mean,
Mhm.
I had training with it. I did training with it, but it wasn't to the extent of how my right hand is.
Mhm.
And now, I mean, it just solidifies like whatever I just did with my left hand. I mean, I can only imagine with the connection on the right hand how that's going to affect a lot of people. It's going to be hard to fight the right hand. It's just because I can feel that the power is there. The power is there. The speed is there. It's a lot more accurate than the left hand. Left hand kind of drags a little bit behind. The right hand will be on point. No fouling this time on the first whack.
Mhm. You kind of seem to be a natural leader in the house. Where did that come from? Is that just who you are naturally, or did you kind of step up in the house to kind of play that role?
It's who I am naturally. I mean I try to be the best that I can be for what I can, and
Mhm.
it's that already. And then I have like just like how everybody was saying about like having a regimen. I try to dial myself into having that type of mentality all the time, right? You have to be regimented. You have to be disciplined. We slip from time to time. That's just normal. It's natural for us, right? But majority of the time you have to run it that way, and it's just because it's just a better way to do it. It's like you don't
Mhm.
miss steps, you don't skip things, you go step by step by step, you break everything down, you understand it a lot better. So that's it just comes natural that the whole guiding people. I worked for the UFC gym. I opened up a lot of the UFC gyms here in San Diego, where I'm living now. And having that opportunity to work in that field and having different people under you like personal trainers, and it's hard for like a personal
Mhm.
trainer to gain new clients and you know, break through like the barriers of like their objections and why they don't want to work out or why it's been happening like all this time.
Mhm.
And you have to train that. So a lot of that has to do with the sales aspect of it too, is just being able
Mhm.
to talk to people, being able to relate to people, you know, finding out like what's their why. Well, you know,
Mhm.
why are you here? Why are you trying to lose weight? Why are you trying to be fit? You know, do you have a bigger cause? Is it family back home? Is it, you know, you getting ready for an event, whatever it may be? And
Mhm.
having that type of background really shapes me as a person to be like, hey, you know what? I can easily just open up and talk to somebody and just say, hey, you know what? What's going on? You know,
Totally.
and then give a little bit of insight. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like you know, we give a lot of advice. Sometimes we don't follow our own advice, and you know, I fall suit to some of that you know,
Yeah.
some of the time. But you know, majority of the time, if you're doing the right things and staying on the right path, you're gonna get better results.
Mhm.
So that's what I
Yeah.
believe.
Awesome, my man. I appreciate you joining me here on the Final Slap. Great to talk with you. I want to set something up with you with an interview here in the next day or two. Want to get your backstory, your great personality. Look forward to seeing you in round 2 and everything you have to give in the world of Power Slap, my man.
All right, Corey. Thank you for everything.
All right, take care. We'll talk
All
soon.
right, my brother.
All right, Pono Pau just finished up with him. Great fight with the left hand. Going to get him back real soon and get more to his story. Natural born leader, great, punctually able to express himself. And what a phenomenal night of fights overall. All 3 of them are bangers. I appreciate everybody who's tuned into this. We work incredibly hard to bring you 2 live shows. We're going to be back next week on Tuesday with Smack Talk on our new time, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. in the East. I'm going to sign off for now. Appreciate you, whatever you're watching us, either it's YouTube, Facebook, or on Rumble. If you can do us a favor, give us a like, give us a subscribe, drop any comments in there. All that helps the algorithm. Much love. And until next time, you can check out our catalog, YouTube. We've got more original clips than anybody else on the internet, pushing upwards of 700 pieces of content now on YouTube. Take care. Signing off. I'm Corey Swergos. We'll be back again next week.